Hey guys, how's it going? My name's the Breph and welcome back to another challenge video. Today we're asking the question, can you beat Pokémon Diamond with only a Bronzor? For anyone who doesn't know, Bronzor is a shitty Pokemon. There's really no other way that I can say it. With a base 57 HP, 86 defense and special defense respectively, and a crummy 23 in speed with 24 in both attacks, totaling 300 BSTs. Is there anything good to say about this? Well, if I had to say one good thing about it, it would be that it's got the Steel Psychic type, which is, in my opinion at least, a fantastic typing. Other than that though, there really isn't anything good that I can say about it. It is genuinely dogshit dreadful. Even when we turn to look at its level up move pool. The best move it learns, in my opinion at least, is Extra Sensory at level 19, and really that's about it. The good news is it does get access to some fantastic TMs such as Shadow Ball, Psychic, Stealth Rocks and Flash Cannon. If I'm going to be real with everyone, recently it's been an exhausting period of time on the internet and I'm beginning to get a little bit burnt out, so forgive me if this video is a little bit shorter than usual. Also, my voice is feeling a little bit croaky. I'm on the verge of losing it after losing my goddamn mind recently, but that hopefully won't affect the video. If you do like the video that I'm about to put up, why don't you slap a like on this, maybe hit that subscribe button and that notification bell if you're interested. The rules for this challenge are more boring than sitting through a lecture from your mother about how to correctly load a dishwasher, but they are necessary, so we have to talk about them. Bronzor only in battle, apart from any double battles that come up, because I do need HM slaves. No items are allowed in battle, but held items are fine. And finally, TM usage is as ever allowed. And with that, shall we crack on with it? The game begins and we choose the female character, giving ourselves the witty and inventive name of Breph. We also get to name our rival and we choose to name him Brace, after Brace Mino, who's requested this challenge in Discord, and as a member of the channel he gets this with priority, hence why it's coming out today. Shameless plug time, if you're interested in becoming a member of the channel and getting access to some somewhat slick emotes, you can hit that blue join button down below and select whatever tier you are interested in. With that shit done, we make our way to the lakefront where we get ambushed by a couple of birds trying to insert their beaks into very inappropriate places. Here we get access to our starter, a Bronzor, who'd have known? And we ultimately have to make our way to the lab where we get to give it a nickname. I choose to give it the nickname of Genting after Genting Casinos because it looks a bit like a casino chip and I really miss my casino trips. Why does lockdown have to go on so long? Nothing really interesting happens in the game until we reach Aubrey City, where we descend into the mines like it's the West Midlands before Thatcher. Down here we meet Rourke, the gym leader, and he cracks his boulder into the dusty ejaculation of Prince Philip before running off back to his gym. Naturally we tail him back there and we kick off the first gym fight by spamming Confusion, and as a stab special type move against high physical defense rock type Pokemon, I don't think anyone needed any sort of confirmation that we beat him rather straightforwardly. Yeah, I can't remember the last time we were 4 minutes into a video and we'd already beaten the first badge, but that's how this run went. And it's only gonna get easier, I guess, at least in the short term. Because after that we have to make our way up towards the Valley Windworks, where once inside we fight Commander Mars. Commander Mars is a big old pussy with a big old pussy on his team. That's literally all there is to him. The entire battle was piss easy, and just like that, we're moving on. We're to but Gardenia's gym, and she is a grass type user. Now, the only member of her team that is weak to our psychic type attacks is her Rose Raid, but to be honest with you, the rest of her team wasn't actually that difficult to deal with. So if you came here expecting an in-depth commentary as to how difficult Gardenia was on a scale of 1 to 10, you're not going to get one, because she was piss easy, and I'm going back to drinking my beers now. The next major point to note is the fight against Brace in Hearthome City. And let's be honest for a minute, this isn't a really difficult fight in any stretch of the imagination, but it does highlight some issues that could crop up later down the line. I mean, we barely survive in the grand scheme of things, because a fire type move against us is one of the only ways to really trouble me. So we have to keep an eye out for that. But this time he wasn't an issue, and that paves the way to the next gym. That gym is of course Maylene's, and she's a fighting type user and we have a psychic type move. So don't think we're really experiencing any early game issues, because straight off the bat we beat her pretty convincingly. The only problem there is Lucario, and I obviously say that for a major fight way off in the future, but to be fair, right now isn't that time, and for a Pokemon with such crappy special attack and physical attack for that matter, we really haven't been tested by this game so far, and that surprises me. The question is, can we get tested when we reach the next fight? That fight is of course against Crasher Wake, and this finally was a challenge. We lost this fight a couple of times, and I'm kind of embarrassed to say that because we really had no right to, but it did happen. I guess the main problem was that Floatzel. I think it's fair to say that that was brutal. We finished this fight so fortunately, barely hanging on at the end there to win with only 2 HP. Now, if you'll all excuse me, there is a beautiful looking can of Stella in the fridge there with my name on it, because if we can't even beat the water type gym convincingly, something tells me later on in this playthrough I am gonna need them, and some. Fortunately enough for my liver, we haven't quite reached that point in the game. We have, however, reached the point in the game where we get to go and have a little one-on-one time with a gorgeous young woman in the back of a cave. She tells us she'll let us into the Holy Lands if we go and do a little side quest for her. That side quest happens to be going to Fantina's gym and taking it on. Okay, so in hindsight, I probably could have made this fight a little bit easier on myself. And by that, I mean I could have made it a lot a bit easier on myself. Turns out the TM for Shadow Ball is actually located accessibly before we even reached the cave where we had that beautiful time with that lady. But it turns out I'm too much of a #Bref's a pleb to have noticed that beforehand. They say hindsight's 20/20, but unfortunately, for me at least, hindsight is not 20/20, because you can't look back at something you did while drunk, and I'm always drunk. So, you know, I'm drunk now, but you know, it's a Thursday afternoon, and what can a man do? Oh, I need help. With extrasensory as my move of choice, what with it being stab and all, I go in and pretty much sweep her aside. It's only after that I decide to head off and get the TM for Shadow Ball, because the next gym is in Canaclave City, I believe that's how you say it. Either way, we're up against Byron next, and I'm going to need that. But don't let me forget, before we get access to that gym fight, we have a battle with Brace once again. In case you haven't picked up on it quite yet, extrasensory is one hell of a move. Brace, I appreciate the message, but I'm currently recording. Extrasensory is one hell of a move that pretty much sweeps aside most things, especially that Monferno. I mean, I genuinely cannot believe how easy this fight turns out to be. I mean, we pretty much sweep everything, which is always fun, but other than that, I did expect a bit more of a challenge. But when we make our way to Byron, I immediately get my hands on that challenge, and oh my good damn god, was this a challenge. That's a really ironic thing to say, given that we beat this thing first time, But the main problems here were the fact that Steelix is so damn tanky, and mainly that Bastiodon is just a fucking pain. It's a rest staller, so you see why that's a problem. But on top of that, it seemed like my Shadow Balls just weren't getting the special defense drop. We needed that Spec Def drop. Otherwise, I may possibly have run out of PP, which is a terrible thing to say. But it was a potential. I'm just glad that in the end, we managed to dodge that. And we did defeat Byron first time. And it feels like we've raced through the first 6 badges. And I know that this is going to be a short video because we've reached the point where we're supposed to go and investigate the lakes. And of course, this being me, I decided to do the complete opposite and take this opportunity to head up to Snowpoint City. If not for my own pleasure, then just to discover it for later. But while up there, we decide to head into the gym and take on Candice. Yeah, that's right, we've just speed ran through 7 badges because we're a steel type with a powerful steel type move in our arsenal, and although we've got terrible attack stats, it's still super effective against her ice type gym. And we have been able now to defeat all 7 badges available to us at this point. Obviously the 8th is still locked off. And if you ask me, it seemed a little bit like Candice just got a bit snowed under. Another pun! Oh, these puns are gonna get me killed one day. With that finally done, we have no other alternative but to get on with our main objective. That being the investigation of the lake, and in there we have to fight Commander Saturn, I believe. Either way, all I know for sure is that by having a Toxicroak on the team, it makes life way too simple. And with that, we're sent then to another lake to deal with Commander Mars. The big pussy is back, and his pussy is even bigger than last time. Clearly he's been getting about. But the problem with this fight is that there isn't a problem. And I don't know if anyone can tell, but I have hit the burnout stage because, oh, fuck me. Please, I wish someone would. In case anyone gives a shit as to why I may be burnt out, it's because I know the video that'll have to come out in a couple of weeks time is a brutal one. Fucking Metropod. Anyhow, with Mars defeated and everything seemingly in order with the world, we're sent deep into the Veilstone headquarters where we have to release the Lake Trio. Unfortunately for them, we first have to deal with Cyrus, and he is a pain in the arse to fight. Not this time, no, of course not this time, but I mean in future fights, he's a pain in the arse. And fuck him, fucking seagulls are going fucking mad, they're gonna do my fucking nutting, son. This time he was straightforward enough, and defeating him gets us the Master Ball. Yeah, some of you can probably already imagine what's going to happen next. But before we can get to that point, we have to go and defeat Saturn once again. It really is no more difficult than last time. And with that, we release the Lake Trio and make our way up Mount Coronet, where the pain, oh, the pain becomes torturous at this stage. We originally have to fight a double battle against Commander Jupiter and Commander Mars, alongside Brace. If it wasn't for the fact that his Munchlax just like to use Stockpile and actually would do something, then the fight would be a lot easier. But instead, it pretty much revolves on us to sweep the entire team. Now, the good news is that even though this is a double battle, and even though Skuntank has the potential to be brutal with Night Slash, we're alright. For now, we're alright. The problem comes when we defeat that fight and we get thrust straight in to the fight with Cyrus again. And somehow, in the time it's taken us to leave that building and get up here, his team has become infinitely more fucking terrible. Honchkrow is bad, there's no way around it, it's a fantastic Pokemon, at least whenever I seem to face it in single Pokemon challenges. The other problems are that well, Crobat's far too quick. Weavile is... oh, fuck Weavile. Fuck Weavile so badly. And on top of that, we've got a Gyarados, which is just like fuck off city. It's really bad. This fight required me to go and do a fuck ton of grinding, and I didn't like it. It wasn't fun. Even with speed up, it meant that, you know, things didn't go too well. But things never seem to go well in my life, so it's just another thing to add to the list. Fortunately though, after, what can only be described as far too many attempts, we were successfully able to get past him. Doing that puts us face to face with Dialga, and it's a fight for the ages. We get straight into it, we throw the Master Ball, and the fight is over just like that. As ever with the Master Ball, I get to give it an inventive nickname, Dialgagged. Yeah, that's right, Dialgagged on the Master Ball. In the Master Ball? Either way, we go and pick up the Adamant Orb and give it to it. So now it's Dialgagging on Adamant Orbs, it's Dialgagging on Master Balls, it's just Dialgagging everywhere. It's Dialgagging till the cows come home, and it's Dialgagging until Volkner makes his way back to the electric type gym. Oh, would you look at that? I guess that's our next port of call. This was another one of those fights that can just go and diddle itself for all I care. It seemed like we would always get hit by Thunder Wave, and there was no way around that. I guess I could have got a Cherry Berry, but that's too much of the OG strat, so I'm much more of a brute force kind of guy. Take that one however you like. But in the context of this game, it basically means I'm just going to keep resetting until we get a good run, which thank goodness we do, and I am so glad for once that Luxray doesn't have the dark typing in this game, because it would have made this fight damn near impossible. Even so, we are able to overcome the 8th badge and finally can make our way to the Elite Four. But the plebitude isn't quite over for this run yet. This fight took so long, it was unbelievable. Not so much in terms of time, but in terms of attempts needed. We have multiple Pokemon on this team that know moves like Close Combat, which a fighting type move is brutal for us, despite the fact it's regularly effective. Staraptor, Monferno and Heracross were all bad enough, and Snorlax came out and it was just a typical Snorlax rest staller, which of course is a massive pain in the backside. Even the painful reminder of a prison shower isn't going to deter me from beating this game. I am going to do it, which is coincidentally what I ended up saying in that prison shower at that time. Whee! Oh, and for the 1 or 2 people that are probably already typing out the comment, I've never been to prison, don't worry, it's all just jokes. Lighten up, enjoy life. Life is for joking and fucking getting cuckolded by kids games, apparently, if you choose my life. No more is that evident than when we step into the Elite Four to face Aaron. He's the bug type user, and bug is not really something that I'm strong against. It starts well enough when he leads off with a Dustox, but apart from that, it's not so great. Extrasensory is pretty much the only move I can use to consistently deal decent damage, and I'm relying hopefully on that flinch chance, which doesn't tend to come up. Fortunately though, after a good number of attempts, Aaron is defeatable and the first member of the Elite Four is down. Why have I sped through that fight? Well, it's because at this point I decided to pause the recording and go off for lunch, which I enjoyed immensely, coming back and dealing with the next few members. Bertha was the ground type, so she wasn't any difficult at all. Flint was a pain, had to go and grind a lot. We had problems with Flare Blitz, we had problems with Rapidash, and we had problems with pretty much everything else on the team, but it was manageable, and Lucian, when we got there, was just piss easy with Shadow Ball. Why do I have to say that? Well, I forgot to press record when I went for lunch and came back, so we're missing all of the Elite Four footage. Hashtag Breph's a pleb. I can't apologise enough, but I'm not playing through the entire game again just to get back to that point and record it. But between you and me, Cynthia was by far the worst because she was brutal. I really thought we would be able to do this without being max level, and do you know what? I will hold my hands up and say I'm sure if I had more time or I was feeling a little bit better and was willing to invest more into this in terms of not just brute forcing it, using my brain a little bit, then I'm sure it can be done without being max level. Unfortunately, we went from level 92 back through the Elite Four several hundred times. That's a bit of an exaggeration. We ended up at max level and only just being able to beat her. Again, the fight was rather straightforward. We used Flash Cannon on Spiritomb and then extra sensoried the fuck out of the rest of her team. It was that straightforward. And with that, my Bronzor and my HM slaves, Delibird and Swampert, also known as Dead Channels, have made it into the Elite Four Hall of Fame, and we've conquered the Sinnoh region. At the start of this challenge, I asked a straightforward enough question: can you beat Pokémon Diamond with only a Bronzor? The answer is yes, you can. Now, I am almost 100% positive that you can beat this game without maxing out your level like I did, but as I mentioned earlier, I've just been so burnt out and tired over the last couple of weeks. I think lockdown is starting to get to me, and I need maybe a little bit of time to recover, and I'm going to take that over the weekend. I can only apologise for the quality of this video being so poor, and I can only say that I hope that I have done Brace a proper service by showing off his requested challenge. But to everyone watching this, thank you so much for your time. It is greatly appreciated, especially given the current state of the world. As I mentioned earlier, if you did enjoy this video, please slap a like on it. If you didn't enjoy it, please slap a dislike on it. I won't be offended if this video gets more dislikes than likes. I know it's not my best. If you would like a challenge suggestion to potentially be done, whack it in the comments down below. And who knows, maybe one day you'll see your name on this screen. Huge thank you to everyone who has joined the channel as a member, and specifically Brace Mino. But yes, thank you all so much for watching, and I look forward to hopefully seeing all of you and maybe some more in the next one.